State regime media, which calls itself Fox News, is in full collapse on air over Donald Trump's awful deal with Iran. Fox was promising its audience that Iran would surrender and there would be regime change. But now it's Donald Trump surrendering to Iran, and state regime media Fox is trying to dress this up like it's the big win they promised their viewers when Trump and Netanyahu got into this unlawful and catastrophic war in the first place. So let me show you what went down. They bring on Doug Burgum, and Kayleigh McEnany's interviewing him. Doug Burgum is Donald Trump's cabinet member, Interior Secretary, and he said, look, Trump won this war militarily, economically, diplomatically. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
So diplomatically, militarily, economically, 3 ways to win a war. Trump won all 3 of them, and that puts him in the position to end up with a fantastic deal for the American people.
You said.
Then you have MAGA Republican Congress member Randy Fine, who's like, we don't even need to look at the details here. Just trust Trump. Okay? Trump says he knows what he's doing. Just trust Trump. Let's play it.
But I also trust Donald Trump, and I know if anyone can get this done, it is him. I place my faith in him, and I know this is an incredibly difficult thing. And the only thing I wish is that people would support the president more as he's trying to do something that will protect us all, because Iran having a nuclear weapon would be catastrophic to the United States. And I just wish the Democrats understood that and would support the president as he's fighting for all of us.
Yeah, all very good comments.
Then you have another Fox host, White, and she says, we know that Trump's a good faith negotiator, so it will all work out in the end. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, and one of President Trump's strengths is that he is a good faith negotiator. The problem is that Iran is not. And
then you had Jesse Waters, and Jesse Waters said, ooh, Donald Trump is such a tease, and I fall for it every time, but this time I think it's real. Such a tease. That's where they're going with on Fox. Here, play this clip.
What is your take on this latest development?
My take is Trump is such a tease, and I fall for it every time. But this time, I think it's real. This time, I think it's real.
And then they brought on a very disheveled and deer-in-headlights looking Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. And Laura Ingram's like, so what are you going to tell the American people right now who are suffering right now? And Bessent's like, actually, I think people are doing really good right now. Things look really, really good. What are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
At the same time, Mr. Secretary, inflation and the cost of living is weighing on Americans. What can you tell the American people tonight about the light that is there at the end of the tunnel for them on the cost of everyday living?
Yeah, so, Laura, we understand this is a challenging time, and President and the cabinet was with him. We believe that he had to take this opportunity to keep Iran from having a nuclear weapon. We will see. Maybe as soon as this weekend or Monday, we will get on the other side of this. Energy prices will come back down. The energy markets are very well supplied. Oil is already about 25 or 30% off the top. Gasoline has come down more than 10%. So I am very confident that the challenging time with gasoline will pass by. Core inflation, which is real underlying inflation, surprised on the downside. It was only 0.2%. So again, once we get on the other side of this energy pinch, and as you said, Laura, the important thing is that underneath all that, the economy is doing very well.
And then they got to get into their culture war issues. So they bring on MAGA Republican Congress member Brandon Gill from Texas, who says just a bunch of outlandish and horrible things about Democratic Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico. And he says, Tallarico is a barely straight version of Buttigieg. That's where they got to start distracting with the hate. Inject the hate into it. Let's divide the people of America while the MAGA Republicans, while we steal your health care and destroy your lives. Let's divide people and make people hate each other. That's their game plan. Let's play this clip.
You know, I think of James Tallarico as a barely straight version of Pete Buttigieg. You know, people in Washington love him, but he doesn't work with the rest of the country.
More of MAGA Republican Congress member Brandon Gill on state regime media. And he's like, the big problem with Tallarico is like he wants to trans America. He wants to turn everybody trans. I mean, he wants to turn everybody trans. What are you talking about? And what's really annoying that there are people who actually will hear go, oh my God, he wants to trans America. Now, let me explain to you. People like Brandon Gill and his MAGA Republican ilk, they view you as their mark. And they know that they can loot and pillage and con you, take away your health care, destroy your life, send it to their right-wing oligarch buds, and convince you of this ridiculous stuff. That's their game plan. I don't know how you don't see that that's what they're doing. Here, let's play this clip.
I'm at the Texas State Convention right now, and there's not a single person here who thinks anything James Tallarico has said over the past several years is any way normal or reflective of Texas values. There's a great clip where James Tallarico is being asked, what's one thing that you really love that's not friends or family? And the first thing that pops into this guy's mind is trans kids. This is not the kind of person that I would certainly want around my young kids, and he's certainly not somebody who should be sitting in the Senate in Washington. This is somebody who has had the most weird, absolutely far left views that he's now trying to run away from. But you can't go around talking about transing kids or making blasphemous comments about how God is non-binary or that there are 6 sexes and expect Texas voters to forget about it, because they're not.
And then more from Brandon Gill right here. Let's play it.
It's kind of a scary proposition for a lot of people who are Christians, who are conservatives in the state of Texas. Does he have a shot, or is this an O'Rourke 2.0?
And I wouldn't even say it's Beto O'Rourke 2.0, because this is a much more effeminate version of Beto O'Rourke. This is somebody who is, talked about having a meatless campaign, somebody who is really obsessed with children, somebody who I don't think is normal or connects with the people of Texas in any way. So I think it's far worse for Democrats than Beto 2.0. But we go through this every cycle where Democrats talk about, we're going to flip Texas blue. We're going to take Texas back from the Republicans, and it never works because they are so out of touch with the way Texans think.
Shifting gears for a second, I want to check in with an important news update about the climate, because frankly, this is something that should concern all of us, and I haven't really seen this in a lot of places. Scientists are sounding the alarm over plans by the Trump administration to dismantle a major U.S. ocean monitoring system called the Ocean Observatories Initiative. This is something experts describe as the eyes and ears of our oceans, and this isn't like some obscure government program. This helps track ocean temperatures, monitor climate change, improve weather forecasts, and provide early warnings for hurricanes, tropical storms, El Nino events, you name it. Pretty important. Researchers say that removing these observations could severely degrade the accuracy of weather predictions and climate forecasting. One recent study found that losing U.S. ocean data would actually be worse than randomly losing 80% of all ocean observations worldwide. Experts warn that without this information, farmers may have less time to prepare for droughts or floods, emergency managers could face weaker storm forecasts, and communities may have less warning before dangerous weather strikes. As one climate scientist put it, without these observations, quote, we are flying blind. And here's what is especially striking. The annual cost of maintaining the system is a tiny fraction of what climate disasters already cost Americans every year. In 2024 alone, weather and climate disasters cost roughly $177 billion in damages across the United States. In comparison, the program that Trump is cutting costs $368 million. That's the update. Now I need to hear from you. Do you think dismantling climate and ocean monitoring systems makes America safer and better prepared, or does it leave us more vulnerable to extreme weather and climate disasters? Let me know what you think in the comments. And by the way, what do you think about these climate news updates in general? Your voice matters, so make it heard right now in the comments below. Okay, Ben, back to you.
And I'll show you this over here as well. So this is Riley Gaines Fox host right here. And she was given like a Fox pundit role job. And here she is going on one of these podcasts, you know, in a role like that. And as we said on the MeidasTouch Network, always important to ask others what your beliefs are before you cash your paycheck as a MAGA Fox influencer. Let's play this clip right here.
Wait, tell me the pillars again. So it's pro-life.
So, First Amendment, Second Amendment, sanctity of life, and veteran and first responders.
Okay.
And
First, second. Yep. Cool. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, our veterans, I feel very passionately about. Do you guys, if you're going to talk about, I mean, you hate to even call them political issues, but do you specifically say like the left or the right, or is that something you try to kind of refrain from? Like if I were to say something to the effect of like the left is still doubling down.
Yeah, you can say. Okay, I've heard you introduce from the beginning, so.
Okay, first, that's what I needed to figure out really quick, is when I first, I mean, definitely over a year though. I would say, can I just say that, like around 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Wait, tell me the pillars again. So it's pro-life.
So, First Amendment, Second Amendment, sanctity of life, and veteran and first responders.
Okay.
And
First, second. Yep. Hello, my name is Riley Gaines, and I'm a very, very proud Patriot Mobile user, and I have been for about 2 years now.
Yeah, it's a wild clip. Oh, more Brandon Gill. This time he refers to Jasmine Crockett as a thug. Let's play this clip right here.
You've got people in power. Jasmine Crockett, for instance, one of my fellow congresswomen, who is a race-baiting thug who is stating quite plainly very recently that the American people ought to have sympathy for Carmelo Anthony because he's black, not for any other reason, but because he's black. That's the kind of stuff that leads to this racial divisiveness.
Then, of course, MAGA's got to get back into their next war, right? Fox, MAGA, they're like, okay, we didn't get this one in Iran. We promised the people we would get regime change there. So where are we going to next? Where's our next war? Cuba. Let's do Cuba. So they bring in MAGA Republican Congress member Carlos Jimenez, who's like, and look, we know in Cuba they've got these drones, and the drones are going to be targeting Key West, and they're targeting Miami, and so we got to stop them. We got to look. We know your neocon tricks. No one in America wants to be at war with Cuba right now, okay? We don't want these wars. Just stop it. These bloodthirsty, disgusting warmongers, just stop it. Focus on getting American people health care and better education and helping people afford things here. Just do that. Stop with the war in Cuba. Enough. Let's play this clip right here.
On Cuba, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth was there this week meeting with troops at Guantanamo Bay. He's warning Havana about acquiring weapons, Congressman. Your district includes Key West, which sits less than 100 miles away from Cuba. You're also the only Cuban-born congressman. Your thoughts?
No, we know that they have already over 300 drones. And so we know some of those drones have a range of about 600 miles, which means all of the southeastern United States is actually now threatened by Cuba. Cuba has always been a national security threat to the United States. We have Russian and Chinese spy bases there. Iran is operating there. I'm sure that Hezbollah is operating in Cuba. They are not our friend. And so what's happening there now is that the regime is collapsing economically. The people of Cuba are starting to rise up. President Trump has said that he's got his eye on Cuba, and once we finish with Iran, then he's going to turn his attention to Cuba. So hopefully, the day of a free Cuba is close at hand.
All right.
And then, as I'm sure you've seen, the reflecting pool right now is a form of mutant green. The algae infestation right now in the reflecting pool is worse than it's ever been ever. And this new reflecting pool has just been open now for a few days. It's exactly what I warned was going to happen. But Jesse Waters wants to distract from that as well. And Jesse Waters is saying, look, the thing about the Democrats is they don't understand the need for neoclassical redesign of our cities. Here's what he says. Let's play this clip.
Water, but listen, he is building the ballroom is an architectural masterpiece. It's designed in the neoclassical style, which liberals hate because that was the preferred style of the founders who modeled that style after ancient Greek and Roman architecture. They took all of their philosophy from the ancient Greek and Romans. And so when you see these soaring columns and the noble statuary and the exquisitely designed reflecting pools, when you let that go into disrepair, you're doing that on purpose. You're purposely subverting the greatness of America, the bedrock of Western civilization. You want people to be depressed. You don't want them to feel worthy of having big, beautiful things. You want them walking around in public spaces with grime.
And then you have Doug Burgum attacking, again, it's always got to be how you divide this country, and he's attacks California. And he's like, the thing about California is they're so dependent on the Strait of Hormuz. That's why the gas prices are so high in California, but not anywhere else, because they get their Hormuz oil in California. But this has nothing to do with the Strait of Hormuz. What are you even talking about? California gets Hormuz oil, and it's nothing to do with the Strait of Hormuz. You're internally contradicting yourself, and you make no sense. Let's play this clip.
In across the country, but they're going to drop unevenly because some states, for example, California was importing 2 months ago 60% of their oil from foreign countries. California was dependent on oil coming from the Strait of Hormuz. No other state other than Hawaii had that condition, but that was self-inflicted. And with that, California is shutting down refineries. They used to have 40 refineries. They're heading towards having 6. Texas has 38 refineries. Yes, who's got the most number of internal combustion machines? California. They are going to have high gas prices. You can thank Gavin Newsom for that and their state legislature for the policies they put in. That has nothing to do with the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay. All right, sir.
And then more Doug Burgum trying to make it seem like only blue states are feeling higher gas price rents. Only the blue states. It's like saying to me, what's the weather? 46 degrees? The blue states are the ones who are suffering. Okay, man, let's play this clip.
Well, I think what you're one thing that you're seeing is when I have to smile every time I see on a screen the national average for gasoline, because it's about like if a weather reporter said, here's the temperature in America tomorrow is going to be 46 degrees. It's not a criticism of Fox, but it's the price of gasoline varies across our whole country, largely right now by state policy and state taxes, not by the underlying fundamentals. The underlying fundamentals, like you opened with, we're producing more oil and exporting more oil than we ever have, producing more natural gas than we ever have. We are an abundant nation.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.